Transmute is really about the reimagination of your music to have the freedom to perform exactly the way you've dreamed of. In this journey, you are going to be reimagining your songs from the studio and creating a captivating performance with it. We will be conceptualizing your show, designing your rig, and putting it all together to create a show-ready project in just 8 weeks.
The main reason that I was even able to take advantage of this course is that it's fully online.
It'll definitely push you, and it'll push you out of your comfort zone.
Throughout the program, I will be providing you with inspiration as you learn the tools and techniques to level up your live show. This is for you if you want to take control of your career and gain a newfound sense of creative freedom.
I wanted to have a show that I could do myself, and I wanted it to be full and cool and an experience. I wanted to add visuals and bring the productions to life.
I'm so excited for you to join the Transmute Accelerator and start this journey with me. Hi. Welcome to day 3 of Transmute Your Artistry. I'm so excited that y'all are here. While we're waiting for folks to join, it'd be awesome if you could type in the chat and let us know where you're from and what you're most excited about today. I'm excited because one of my favorite artists, I don't even know if I told him this, but one of my favorite artists, The Album Leaf, is with us today, and I've been listening to his music for years, and wow, it's gonna be an incredible day. So yeah, what are y'all excited about today? Let me know. Where are you from? Where you're tuning in from? Who you are? All that good stuff. I see a lot of friends in the chat. I see some transmutants in the chat. What's up? Kat and Sonia, Melody, what's up? I see some master trackers, Meredith and Alex, and Will, what's up? Friendship, and Max, what's going on? I see Marcelo, hey. Hi, Laurel, we're psyched too. Ashley from my team, thank you, Ashley, for being here. She's making the magic going on the background with all the emails and stuff. Jeff and Kane, what's up? Oh my gosh, hi, Robbie. I'm a big fan of your stuff. I look forward to checking out your video this week with live producers with Dan. Ailey, what's up? You're from Canada. That's awesome. Oh my gosh, it's so great to see all of y'all. What's up, Chris? Jules is in the background here. What's up, Steven? Transmuting in the house. What's up, JM? Oh man, so many amazing folks in the audience. It's going to be such a great day. So now that you all are gathering, I just wanted to say, first of all, thanks again for being here. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Laura Escade, and I'm an artist and entrepreneur and live show designer. So my passion is elevating live performance, and I've toured for many years, and I love everything having to do with expressing ourselves musically through live performance. And I love technology as well. Those of you on here know that I'm a huge nerd, and it just brings me so much joy to share my knowledge with folks, including y'all. And so that's why we are doing this whole event this week, because I love to share my knowledge. And we're also celebrating the launch of Transmute Accelerator 4.0, which is my live performance design course. It's a 2-month course. So it's lots of goodness, all kinds of educational stuff, master classes packed into 2 months. Wow. I can't believe that we're upon our 4th version already. It seems like just yesterday, a couple of years ago, that we were starting the first one. But it's been exciting to see the progression. And if y'all like Transmute Your Artistry, definitely check out the Transmute Accelerator, because it is like this, but 2 months of this every week. We've got over 20 hours of videos. It's awesome. So yeah, so I want to know who has got their Transmute morning journal. And did anyone do their homework today? Today is Elevate. So today is the themed Elevate. And so I'm going to ask if anyone has done your homework or reflected or even not reflected, maybe you could type some things in the chat for me so that we can get to know one another. So what I want to know right now is, what is your biggest challenge as it pertains to elevating yourself as an artist? What is your biggest challenge? I look forward to seeing what y'all type into the chat. I'm trying to think of what my biggest challenge is right now. And, I feel like it's, my biggest challenge is feeling the audience on the other side, especially since we're just live streaming right now. We're not performing live anymore. So my biggest challenge is feeling the energy while I'm performing live through the screen, right? Because we can't talk to one another right now. I mean, I'm imagining that you're being very excited to be here and all of that, but it's different right now because we don't have that feedback. So I think my biggest challenge is feeling the energy while I'm performing, because I really feed off of my audience when I'm performing. I love to like banter with my audience and talk with my audience and ask them what they want to hear, what they want to see. And so I think that's my biggest challenge right now as an artist. But I am also very excited because I do love live streaming and I love performing online. So it is a great time, obviously, for that. And I have embraced it, and I've been working a lot on my live setup. So definitely check me out on Friday, because I'm going to be showing you all kinds of new things that I've been developing in this time. So there are positives about it. And in fact, with my company EC, there are some small little gigs that are starting to come back, which is exciting. So I'm just going to check out the comments and see, what your challenges are. Nick says no live venues. Yeah. Okay. Ralph, getting help with the journey, finding a team or colleagues, doing solo work. I feel like it's all up to me. I definitely felt like that before I embarked on starting my company and starting Transmute and all of that, because I was very much just working solo. And now I feel like I have a community. So I definitely feel you there. Alex says getting my live animated radio show in front of some eyes, streaming discovery on Twitch is tough. Yeah, I feel you on that. That's one of the reasons why I haven't moved to Twitch yet, is because I feel like I had to start over in a way with building my audience. But it is great. It's a great platform. I know some folks are doing really well there. I'm not sure what your name is, but dig XDD. My biggest challenge is challenging myself and not letting myself become comfortable with my skill set. Yes, I feel that 100%. It's when I'm around other people and I learn from them that I challenge myself more, and they help elevate my skills. Mateus, I have 25 big challenges. Yes. Listed to be clear on which ones they are and what I could do to overcome them, for sure. Miss Triss, hey, what's going on? She's just replying to Sonia. Wes, branding, defining myself, time management, and general direction, and where to go. I feel like I need a mentor. Yes, well, you're in the right place, because we definitely work on all of those things in my Transmute program. We work on time management. Hopefully you got my time management sheets if you signed up to watch this. And definitely, go back to the first day of the journal to fill out your ideal day, because I think that's helpful for me to compartmentalize my work and my artistry. And I'm always working on time management stuff. Hi, Jeff. Thank you so much. Appreciate you saying that. It's nice to hear some feedback. Marcella, learn about video interactions, green screen, and how do I show my work in a better way. That is amazing. I've learned a lot about green screening in this time. So it's been pretty fun to learn how to show my work in a different way. So I definitely feel that. And thanks for being here. Leah, such a challenge collabing with people I can't hang with in person. Absolutely. I mean, those of you that saw my jam with Trevor yesterday, that was the first time that I think I jammed live with someone, and it is a challenge because there's sync stuff and hearing each other differently, but it was fun because we just decided, you know what, we're just going to do it and see how it turns out. And but it is a challenge. It is a challenge. I definitely check out Tim Exile's Endless app, though. I jammed with Imogen Heap and a bunch of other folks like Nick, who's on here, Boundless, and that was so exciting. I really think that app has the ability to take live performance into the future, the collaboration that people have been wanting, because it does sync everything up properly through the app, and it does all that work for you. I know there are many folks that are working on these distance collaboration things, and you gotta have really fast Wi-Fi, and like the latencies has to be below 10 milliseconds to actually truly sync up. But the way that he's done the app has reimagined that, so I definitely recommend y'all check that out. I'm on the ground floor, like the beta team for that, so I just have been learning about the app myself, and it's very, very cool. Oh my gosh, so many amazing things here. I could keep reading them, but I just appreciate y'all being here and commenting and contributing to the conversation. And if you want to continue more and contribute more to the conversation, you can continue on in the Transmute community, which is our Facebook group. It's totally free. You just have to sign up and answer 3 questions just so we know who you are and know that you're going to bring good vibes to our community. So thank you all who commented. I'm going to go back and read all of your comments later. So another thing that I want to talk about before we bring in our very special guest is the contest, the Transmute from Home contest. So those of you that have signed up for this know that we are doing a contest, a 1 to 5 minute video of you performing live, and you win prizes by Universal Audio. I'm actually drinking out of my Universal Audio mug. I did a presentation there literally a few days before everything got shut down for the pandemic. So they're good friends of mine, and they've graciously sponsored this contest. Also, Eventide, good friends of mine. Native Instruments, good friends of mine. Output, good friends of mine. And Artifon, good friends. All amazing companies. Thank you so much for supporting this contest. You have until September 4th to enter. So definitely check your emails if you signed up for this, which you should have if you're here, to get all of the information about that. But yes, I thank you so much to our sponsors. We really appreciate it. And let's see, what else? Beam, if you're enjoying this, we're doing this all for free this week as a celebration of the launch of Transmute 4.0, which starts on September 14th. If you want to apply, definitely visit transmuteaccelerator.com. But we are doing this whole week for free and bringing a lot of information and special guests to you. So if you're enjoying this, please consider making a donation to Beam, which is the Black Emotional and Mental Health Collective. And we will drop the link to donate on the feed. So thank you so much. All right. So I think we got all the pre-stuff out of the way. Thank you for hanging out with us today. And I would love to invite our very special guest, Jimmy Laval, to the stream. He's also known as the Album Leaf. And I'm honored that Jimmy is here with us. Welcome, Jimmy. Hello.
There we go. Sorry.
Hey.
How's it going?
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
We're great. Y'all, you don't even know, but we have been working with all of the artists. We've met 4, sometimes 5 times to make sure that we're getting the best quality video, the best quality audio, the best quality production. And it's been awesome working with Jimmy on this because, he's got such next level studio and he's got such next level gear. And it's we put together a puzzle for this for y'all. So I'm very, very excited that he's here. So everyone give Jimmy some love in the chat. Thank you so much for being here.
It's great. Yeah, great to be here.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, so as I mentioned, you probably heard this in the intro, you actually are one of my favorite artists. When
Yeah. You hadn't mentioned that.
I hadn't, but
Yeah.
when Eugen, shout out Eugen, introduced
Eugen.
us a few months ago, I was like, oh my gosh, like, I love the album Leaf. I've been listening to album Leaf for years.
That's awesome.
And, I actually didn't know that you had, like, worked with Sigur Rós and, like, done all this other stuff, because I started researching you, and I was like, wow, like, that's so incredible. So yeah, to kick all of this off, we're going to talk about your career. You're going to perform. You're going to show us under the hood. But today's theme is elevate. So I just wanted to know, like, what are some ways that you've been elevating your artistry these days? I mean, we're in a strange time, of course.
Yeah, these days have been definitely tough to get elevated. For me, I've just been trying to really just stay productive at all times, creating, experimenting with new things that I kind of didn't slow down to learn. I mean, simple things like how to sequence my Mother 32 properly, and like have it, like things like that. And just trying to like get outside of my comfort zone and my box of, tricks that I just basically always fall into, and look for new ways to kind of create. And I guess through my career of like, I started this and I started releasing or making music as the album Leaf in 1997. And, technology has changed so much through those years, and the way that I made my first records compared to the way, things that I have that are available to me now, just kind of embracing that and trying to, a lot of the issues that I run into is that I've worked on so many different systems through the years, that getting them all into one kind of presentation, I've done, different kinds of ways of running a show. So just, I guess that's kind of, I'm touching on just elevating, over a career of, 20 plus years, and how to keep things fresh, and how to kind of present, my music and art in like a way that's still fresh and still interesting, so yeah, I mean, that's basically it. And I mean, during this time, like I've been wanting to live stream, but I didn't jump on like the proper gear, and I was like, no way that I was going to cut any corners and just like, plug in my phone and just go for it. It's just not that kind of sound, so I've been waiting, and I just did my first live stream for Moog last week, and it was cool. So I'm looking forward to kind of like getting more things. And I've honestly learned so much from you and Jules, just like behind the scenes of possibilities and routing and tricks and just to stream in a good way. So I'm thankful for that as well. And kind of, everything that I've learned, take that and then kind of try to present that into, a better presentation for, because I don't know when shows are coming back, and I still want to be active. I have new music coming out, and I want to be able to present, perform, in a way that's connecting. And yeah, I mean, that's all we can really do, it's just to connect as much as we possibly can, however we can, in this sitting behind a computer screen talking into a microphone situation.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, thank you for that. And it has been awesome to see your evolution just over the last couple of weeks. It's awesome. I mean, I think there's a few artists during Transmute Your Artistry that had never live streamed or done very little of it, and we've been, okay, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna make it the most high quality experience that we can.
Yeah.
And so you definitely rose to the occasion. You're like, all right, like, you got all the things.
Totally. Multiple systems. Yeah, that was another like hurdle. It's like, oh, I'll just do this, and I realized I didn't have everything in. Yeah, so my library was somewhere else, and yeah.
your setup is just insane. So, well, I want to talk about, of course, Eugen introduced us, and you were interested in Transmute. So you wanted to be a guest, and so we actually have you slated to be a guest artist during the program, which starts in September. And then, well, first of all, I was just like blown away that you would just want to share your knowledge. I mean, tell us about that. Like, where does that come from? Because you were so excited, and I was like, this is this is one of my people, you know.
I've always just been that way. I'm just not much of like a trick keeper, you know. I guess is one way to put it. You know, like I've never, from the beginning, even like, I mean, going back to like Napster years, if anybody remembers, like when streaming started. Yeah, streaming started, and there was so much discussion about, you know, and this is just I understand, you know, that there's so many different views to be taken on this, you know, particular situation or particular platforms of sharing and streaming and having music readily available. But for me, an artist like my size, you know, I'm not, back then it wasn't like I was on MTV or, you know, or just like popular radio. I make instrumental music that, you know, you need to listen to in a kind of a particular setting. So for me, the idea of things being available, you know, was something that I totally supported. To me, I felt like people would discover my music. They would then come to a show, they would buy a t-shirt, you know, that's support right there, and coming to the show support. So there's many ways that I feel like are more direct to artists that were kind of good ways, you know, just it was more positive than negative to me, at least. And then I think that mentality kind of also translates over to, you know, me always wanting to solve problems under the hood of, you know, sessions or you know, way things are routed or tricks, or just you know, I'm always looking to, like, I guess, elevate my Ableton, my session game, just to see what other things I can add and what other kinds of, you know, tricks to make things easy or easier, you know, accessible to me. And so that's how I've always felt, is just like I'm just like a sharer, you know. I've shared my sample library, you know, like I've you know, everything I've made, I'll like put it on a hard drive for you and you can take it. And I have other friends that are the same way. And I feel like that's, you know, the community is more important than kind of, you know, being, just keeping your tricks under your sleeve or something like, I don't know. So yeah. And then I had done IO Academy. I reached out to them too, and they had me teach a 4-week MIDI hardware control Ableton course, where I was just basically utilizing Ableton to control your external hardware, you know, program changes and like playing it and taking over and, you know, et cetera, et cetera. And I don't know, I'm just ready to share and I love it. I mean, when I discovered Ableton, I just like nerded out, like, because it took me a long time too to get into it. And my good friend, well, going way back, I saw this artist named Mugi-san when I was in Iceland recording in a safe place, and he was performing with Ableton, and I was just like, whoa, what is going on there? And I met him in a coffee shop, and he showed me, and I couldn't wrap my head around it, because I had always been a, you know, loop-oriented artist, but I did it, you know, with pedals and with hardware and you know, a Kai head rush and an RC20, just all these things that were like, you know, more hands-on, that's how I did. And I basically had playback going on. And I would loop to that. And so I couldn't wrap my head around how Ableton would work for me. And I guess the first thing that kind of I gravitated towards back then in 2003 was the fact that you could glitch out, because I was glitching my electronics and my beats, but you could glitch it really easily. And back then I had to do like sample stretching and dropping, you know, all of my samples on a timeline to create beats. And then like, if I wanted it to glitch, I had to like drag it and whatever. So I guess, you know, fast forward to like 2000, I don't know, 11 or something like that. A good friend of mine, King Britt, came to a show that I was playing, and he's like, man, you got to use Ableton. And I was like, yeah, just can't wrap my head around it. And then I basically, you know, a project came up that like Ableton just kind of like made sense all of a sudden. And then I'm just creating that and opening that into my workflow and finding out how it works for me. Because you can run it so many different ways. There's no wrong way. There's no right way. You can do whatever you want with it. And I think that's like what's most exciting to me, is like the way that I've come up with stuff. I just want to share, because I feel like everybody else is, you know, doing things in so many different ways. And even like, you know, behind the scenes, like working with the folks at Ableton are amazing as well. Shout out to Cole and all the Ableton crew. But like, they have these, they've had those like artist meetups and gatherings where, go to their offices and kind of like somebody's there to do a presentation, and they show you how they're running it, and you're like, oh wow, that's really cool, and you kind of learn something from that. And then the same side on the other end, I'm like, oh, what if you do this? Just it feels like it's a communal share, because there's no right or wrong way to run Ableton. So to me, it's just like I just want to share. That's a long version of why I like to share.
I love that. I mean, when I saw that, it just brought me so much joy. Just know that you're like us. We love to share. We love to build community. I mean, we're nowhere without each other. So, yeah. Well, thank you so much for that. We really appreciate you sharing how you've elevated. So I thought it would be nice to jump into some sounds if you're down.
Totally down.
Yeah. So
right.
go ahead and just play some music for us for a little bit, and then we'll come back and break down what you did.
Okay, cool.
Awesome. Hi. Wasn't that beautiful? Wow. Thank you so much, Jimmy. We're going to hear more from Jimmy in just a moment, but he's going to switch around a couple of things. There's always like the elements of buffer and air conditioning and all the things, but that was so beautiful. Thank you so much for that. I'm just going to give you a couple minutes to do your thing, but yeah, what did y'all like about his performance just now? I see that Will said that your puppy came over for a cuddle. So that's awesome. Ricardo loves the faraway voice. Very cool. Hannah says, great way to start the day. Very cool. Jimmy, how are you doing there? You're good. Well, I know, and we also made you turn off your AC for this. So well, we could turn it back on when we touch. But so actually, one of my favorite nerdy things to ask is, what's your buffer size at? The transmutants in this chat know that we joke about that.
That's what it is.
Yeah. Well, that's all good. Yeah. So are folks still hearing and seeing both of us? Well, I think you might just be seeing me right now, but I'm not sure. Anyway, I think we are. Okay, we're back to both of us. I think we were having a conversation without y'all.
Oh.
without you, Jimmy. I was having a conversation with
Gotcha.
I guess everyone out there. Probably think that I'm a crazy person talking to myself. But yeah, Jimmy said, he's at 512 and he restarted his session. He hasn't had a chance to restart his session in a while, and we made him turn off his AC. So shout out Jimmy, fielding all the things. We made him do all this crazy stuff, all for the purpose of high quality audio and video. So yeah, are you down to perform a couple more for us, and then we'll jump into the nerd stuff?
I got just like the usual crash scenario happening, but I'm just spinning some wheels. That's all. It's coming back.
Oh, no worries.
Yeah,
no, it's all good. Well, then we'll just chat for a little bit.
Yeah, just chat for a sec.
I think folks wanted to know about. I saw something about your lighting, and I actually really want to know about your lighting too. What is going on with the lighting?
So it's this is super simple. This particular setup is pretty simple. But I just have 4, they're called Gantums. I guess to go back, I worked with this company called Visual Noise Creative, a show for my last record release tour, which I was on Between Waves. So there we go. Sorry, multitasking. And then basically I had to go back a little bit further, in 2010, I wanted to incorporate my own lighting to the show and how to be able to control it and integrate it. And basically, going back before that, having toured with Sigur Rós when I did, and this was in 2001 that I had toured with them, and I remember driving cross country. Our first show was in Detroit. It's 2001. It was a couple days after 9/11 as well, and showing up at this theater and just seeing this immaculate production. There was lighting, there was visuals, there was all kinds of stuff, there was a crew, there was just all kinds of parts and pieces, and that was kind of my first intro into seeing something that wasn't just a DIY setup and at satellite or whatever it was, just walk in and get on stage and play. So that was kind of my first experience and exposure into kind of possibilities of production and what can be done. So I kind of from that tour starting in 2001 is when I started using visuals or after that. And so I had brought on this visual artist. His name was Andy Pates. And, he would set up a screen behind, and we toured for many years where he would just basically project onto us as we played, and they weren't synced. It was all free. And I guess over the years, like kind of like long story short, I have fine-tuned that idea and approach into how I can kind of make things be in sync. And, he used to run our playback at front of house with his visual computer, and he would just literally like dual space bar, to like try to get things in sync. And we would just kind of like, hope for the best that it was just, in sync. But, for the most part, it was cool. It was clear. And then in 2010, I was like, I want to bring lighting into this. And so I figured out, back then I was running Logic, so I could just drop in my video to Logic and just kind of hit play on the timeline. We were hearing a click and it was kind of off the races. We would just play along. And then incorporating lighting into it was this program or this software called DMXis, and it's a little box. It's USB powered, and it converts MIDI notes into triggers to trigger lighting scenes, and all the scenes show up. I'll show you, I guess, when we get in there, but I'm back up too. But it's just the fixtures are laid out and they correspond to faders, and you can kind of like select a bunch of things and create a scene. And basically, so it's kind of a good way as an artist to, who can't afford to bring out an LD or can't afford to bring out an entire crew or anything, to kind of just like, utilize your resources on your own. And so that was kind of like the evolve of that. And I had kind of like twice the amount of lighting that I just used right now, and then I'd used that setup for so long. Actually, our drummer Dave LeBlue has it now, and he's been, if you go to his Instagram page, DLB, or I think it's just Dave LeBlue, his artist name is Textual, but he's been doing live performances with our old lighting rig, and he's reconfigured them and is controlling them. DMXs, the whole deal as well. So I guess fast forwarding, long-winded version of all of this, then I got into, doing production and wanting a production. So on 2016 tour, we started using kind of a visual backdrop of these kind of 3D element screens, and that was when Visual Noise Creative came into the fold and kind of designed this show. And it incorporated, my laptop communicating with a Mac Mini that was triggering visuals. My laptop was still triggering the lighting, and it was all just via MIDI, just communicating. And Ethernet network was how my laptop and Mac Mini communicated with each other. So literally just writing MIDI notes in the MIDI roll, and sending those cues to the lighting triggers and to the video. And along the line there too, my old friend, his name's Jeremy Earhart. I recommend looking him up. He's this amazing plexiglass artist. So he kind of hand cut or laser cut this leaf for me. And his bigger art, he makes these giant installations, 16, 20 feet, large, that are really, really intricate, and he UV lights them all. So I reached out to him to cut this leaf out for me, and he gave me a UV thing, and we kind of like set it up behind the scenes, behind all of the scrims. And so all of that knowledge that I've kind of like learned through the years, I then kind of just kind of keep repurposing and refiguring out how to make that fresh, and I guess in a way like how to elevate that same notion to create and present a show that's not just standing on stage and playing, which works for plenty of people fine, of course. I'm not, don't want to disrespect that in any way, but I just feel like presenting what I do, it just is really important to me to kind of just like have a presentation and always have kind of a vision in mind of how I want the music to kind of come across. So that's kind of where it's at.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, I love DMXs myself, and done quite a bit of programming with that. I know some of our transmutants did that. We got to actually have a master class during Transmute about light programming. So yeah,
it's
awesome
so powerful. It's really, really powerful. Yeah.
Yeah.
My last European tour, my last European tour, I changed things up and started working with an individual artist. His name is Phil Kong, Kong lighting design. And he was part of the visual noise crew designing my first show. And so he and I worked together on this European tour. I felt like I'd done visuals for so long, and I wanted to change it up and kind of like see what I could do with lighting. So he designed this look with these fixtures that were Martin Septrons. And we only did this in Europe. And he designed this whole thing and fed a video feed into the lighting. And that was a different situation. It was still a MIDI communication talking to each other, but it was triggering a grandma to whatever the big like LD board is. And it was this whole, we were pretty over our heads actually with this, because it was just, the four of us on tour and trying to figure this out. Like, whoa, how does this whole system work? Exactly. And we got it working, and it was fine. And we'd set it up every night, we'd break it down, and it was cool. So I came back and I did a short solo run with mono, which is basically what this little configuration is that I'm using today.
Amazing. That is so cool. Folks wanted to know about the artist who cut the leaf. How do you spell his name?
Jeremy, and its last name is it's EAR, Earhart.
Yes. Amazing.
Yeah.
Cool. So how are you doing with your session there? Are you almost ready to maybe do some more stuff for us, or I could talk to you this entire time too.
Oh yeah. No, I can play. Let me just figure out what I want to do here.
I'm just looking through the chat and see like a lot of beautiful screen name faces here.
Yeah, cool. I'll see. Hopefully everything's back up, and but yeah, I can play. I'll play a couple more things.
Yes.
Cool.
Sweet. Let's do it. Wow, that was so beautiful. I'm just like mesmerized right now. I think everyone in the hang in the chat is. Thank you so much. That was beautiful. Yeah, we're gonna nerd out on all the stuff. Yes, thank you so much, Jimmy.
Of course, yeah, awesome.
Wow, it sounded pristine that time. Like, the first time it was good. You know, it was definitely good. It started to get Jules and I in the background were like, oh no, no, don't do this to us. You know, but you, like the pro that you are, recovered. You knew exactly what to
play
do.
through it. Yeah,
play through it. Restart.
I've had to do that on stage so many times, and it's man. I remember my first crash vividly. It's
oh wow,
on tour with Sigur Rós in a theater in front of thousands of people, and I was like, and I'm not much of a talker, and I had to go on the mic and like, my computer crashed. Hang on and. Yeah.
Yes. Well, that's what.
And a lot of the times, the people that play with me don't know how to like fill the space either, so it's just like silence, you know.
Yeah, that's always fun. That's why we built my company, Electronic Creative, so we could be the people that handle the redundancy for artists. But you know, it's not always possible to do that. I mean, it's like massive, you know, especially when you're just getting started. You know, it's like you gotta have 2 of everything, and
you gotta have the money too. That's the other. Yeah, exactly.
Gotta know what you're doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was beautiful.
I'm still so DIY that I just still cut. I cut corners on everything. Like, you know, I came from a hardcore world, so I'm like, that's too much money to spend on that. I'm not gonna do that. And how else can I do this? Like, when we toured to Europe, we used to like duct tape keyboard stands together, you know, so that it would be 1 check as opposed to 2,
right?
Like, things like that, yeah.
Hey,
or like to the outside of guitar cases, like just it's pretty funny.
Yeah, you learn how to get crafty and thrifty
to
make things work. Yeah, that's awesome, because I know that it was Tristeza, right? Is that how you say it?
Yeah, Tristeza. Yeah, exactly. Tristeza.
Yeah, Tristeza. Yeah,
wow.
I remember listening to Tristeza back in 2000 maybe.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Back
We started in 97. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. I was listening to all
Awesome.
that stuff back then. Yeah. I was super into all the IDM stuff and all the you know, experimental
Telephone Tel Aviv
noise.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, Josh is a hero. Yeah. Josh is my hero, and he's coincidentally a really good friend of mine too. He worked with me on Into the Blue Again, and he just mixed my new record too. So he's been a long time.
So great.
Yeah.
Such an
his
inspiration.
production is just on point. Exactly. Yeah. There's no touching him. He's on another level. He's so fantastic. So.
Yeah. I remember when that album came out, I was like, what?
Fahrenheit, Fair Enough. Yep.
That just, you know, and I was living in Florida, and I was friends with like the Phoenicia guys, and, you know, post Soul Oddity, and we were kind of like opening up for them, and like, remember Murkoff? I mean, probably Murkoff is still around. I don't even know. But loved that stuff.
Yeah, I still use
Memory
that record
Lane.
to tune my speakers, you know, to make sure everything's going on. Like that's how I make sure.
Oh, Fahrenheit?
Yeah.
Oh,
yep.
wow.
Yeah.
So good. It's just impeccably mixed. Anyway, we
Yes.
are definitely of the same era. Some people in the chat might be like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
The same era. Oh, that's so awesome. Well, yeah, there's some questions, and we're gonna get into your set in just a second. But one of them I'm super curious about. What are your inspirations? Like, what are your inspirations for creating this music?
You know, I mean, I started. Discovering Brian Eno was like the biggest step for me, I guess, and it just ambient. I don't know what it was. Because I came from playing hardcore music. I was in this band called The Locust, and you know, Swing Kids and Crimson. I was a hardcore kid. I was 16, 17 years old playing these hardcore bands. It was it was right for me. It was perfect for, you know, me in that time of my life of being in hardcore and playing and, you know, jumping off of bass drums and having a smashed bloody finger after each show from the, you know, strumming and just all, you know, all of that stuff. And I was, you know, 17 years old. And during that same time is kind of like, and also like the music I was listening to during that time period was kind of like the indie and, you know, like Fugazi and just discovering like Drive Like Jehu and other like local San Diego bands from where I was growing up. But at the same time, there was other bands involved in the scene that kind of like got my like, you know, kind of I was able to put a foot in of like, you know, like bands like 3 Mile Pilot and things that were just like they were like actually, this is going to sound wrong, but we're like making music, real music, not like hardcore music, you know, I guess like just, you know, I don't know if there's any right way to put it. And I'm often asked like, you know, oh, what happened? You know, why, like you went from the Locust to this, like what happened? I was like, well, I mean, I just musically grew up, and that's just me. That's not to, you know, discredit or anything of what's still happening. That isn't meant to be that like that. But for me, it was just like, I evolved into a different kind of sound and a different kind of exploration of what I wanted to get into. And so I started discovering bands like, you know, I discovered Brian Eno, and also Aphex Twin, that first Ambient Works, second Ambient Works collection, like was really hugely influential to me. And like and then diving deeper into Aphex Twin and kind of discovering like this really beautiful melodic electronic music, because melody is something I've always been, you know, really drawn to and has been really important all the time. So yeah, to kind of, you know, peeling off the layers and diving deeper, you know, Portishead, I mean, I'm drawing blanks all the time, but at the same time, I was also inspired by like Tribe Called Quest and like sampling and that, you know, era of hip hop, with melodic, you know, bass lines and beats. So I was really into that. I was also really into like Can. I discovered Can and like Neu and Kraftwerk and you know, kind of a lot of like the German rock scene, that was also, I mean, they're all like super influential and inspirational to me. And I kind of feel like I've drawn elements from all of that stuff, like in my drumming, you know, in my early records, that I was doing all the drumming on. I was really inspired by, you know, Jackie Leaves It from Can and I mean, I can probably just stop right there. I mean, really, he's like my most, I love his drumming more than anything. And then, so yeah, I mean, I feel like, and then the tones and the textures of Brian Eno's ambient music, and also like his pop music too, like everything about it was just like really kind of influential and inspirational to me. And then, you know, fast forward and not being in like Tortoise, and other kind of like fellow like indie rock bands that were happening during the time. But then, I mean, to be quite honest, like, you know, I was into Aphex Twin. I was even into like Photech and I can't remember. There's this label in Germany called More Music, and there was bands like Isan and Christian Klein and Atecker, and, you know, just a lot of like that like electronic stuff that I didn't know how to make. So for me, I was just like, I don't know. I have no idea how to make this music. Like, I don't know how to program a drum machine. I don't even know. I can't afford one. You know, so I kind of like felt like I did all this like myself, trying to kind of like be inspired by these, I guess, beats and melodies and vibes and, you know, just things like that, and translating that into like making my own music. And so when I was in this band called Go 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 Earhart, which is this really awesome, to me, like there was just this band that just like opened my mind to everything. The two guys in that band, Mike Vermillion and Ashish Vyas. Hash now, his nickname's Hash. He now plays with Thievery Corporation. He's been their bass player forever. I'm sure if anybody knows Thievery, they know Hash because he's a force to be reckoned with on stage. But anyhow, playing in a band with him and Mike, and having them just play music for me, and like their record collections and just the things that I was discovering, like that they were just like, I don't know, like John Lennon's solo record, you know, by then, like I was just into the Beatles, but then he played me like, you know, the Plastic Ono Band record, which is one of my favorite records. And that was the first time I heard it when I was 19, you know, something like that. So kind of like diving in deeper to like, you know, I guess what's now called like record digging, and like, you know, discovering music in that kind of sense. So I feel like all of those things I drew inspiration from, and mostly like for guitar, I was for Tristeza, we were really influenced by like Nick Drake, and alternate tunings and the Chicago music scene. You know, I still don't play guitar in a standard tuning because I kind of forgot. I mean, I didn't forget how to, but can't write in a standard tuning. So I'm always in an alternate tuning. Every single song I've ever written is in an alternate tuning of some sort, which is a good and bad thing because sometimes I forget what the tuning was. I can't remember how to play the song. Anyhow, but yeah, I feel like there was like all of that inspiration that was drawn from, you know, across the board, and trying to kind of formulate that into like what I wanted to create, what I could, you know, with the equipment that I had. So, you know, my beats, you know, were like break beats on drums because I was influenced by, you know, like Aphex Twin and Autechre and stuff like that. And then, to be honest, when Fahrenheit, Fair Enough, again, like going to that record, like when I first heard that record, I was like, holy, like this is what I want to do. This is just mind blown. Like, how do I make this happen? And coincidentally, you know, his instrument, you know, Josh and Charlie, they were using the Rhodes, and I was on the Rhodes, and I'd been using it, and I came across it and was just like, whoa. And so that, I mean, that kind of like led me down a path and, of first starting to get into like sequencing, and I started using Fruity Loops to sequence my beats in this really kind of like archaic way where I would just like program the beats and then bounce them and drop them into my DAW, which was Vegas Video then. I don't know if anybody remembers that, but I was working in Vegas Video, and I actually had this, that was kind of how I could glitch things, like, you know, time shift, which you can do in Ableton now, but you know, Pro Tools didn't do it then. There was all these different things that like I could only do in Vegas Video. Anyway, I mean, yeah, I mean, that's kind of like the long-winded inspiration story.
That's great.
But yeah, just taking a lot of things from a lot of different places and trying to kind of like, you know, be influenced by them and create my own.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's great. I love all those references. It's like really bringing me back. Just like, wow, I listened to all that stuff too. Do you ever sample your kids? I think we hear them, don't we?
You do hear my kids running around. Yes. I know I should sample that actually, because it's kind of a good kick drum. It could be. But my wife actually came up with the idea to like sample my son. And when he was when he was a baby, like 6 months old, I actually did a quick little like demo of this on this output video, with just like grabbing a snippet and stretching that and turning that into a synth. So yeah, I mean, I do sample. Awesome. I do sample the kids. I do a lot of sampling just in general. Like
love sampling.
The synth wall, you know, I can't really bring all out on the road, so I like sample a lot of that, and I guess that's what we'll get into with the Ableton session too. So
I was about to say, let's get into it, but one quick question, just because this is Jules's question, and we got to answer Jules's questions because he's making this whole thing happen in the background. Does Jimmy know the Japanese math rock band Toe?
Oh yeah, so many shows with them too. We've played together.
Okay.
Yeah, totally. Of course.
Amazing.
Yeah.
All right, well, that was a quick one, and now we're gonna do a walkthrough. Yes, Jules, let's do it. First, can we do a synth collection walkthrough to see like what your toys are there? Is that possible to do and be on the mic, or can you just talk about it?
Let's see. You know, I have this. Well, let's see. I guess I can do this, yeah?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, this is all casual.
This is very casual.
Yes. Hey, you know, love it.
Yeah. So, all right. So over there, that is my OG Rhodes, my Rhodes that I've had and used on all the records. I got it from Mike Vermillion, Go Earhart. He had it set up in his living room, and after band practice, I would just noodle on it basically. And one day he decided to record my noodles, and that turned into my first record, which is An Orchestrated Rise to Fall. So that's kind of like where it all began on. That's like my original Rhodes that I got in 1998, and I've had it ever since. The bottom of it is just completely destroyed. Just from being pushed in and out of a van or a trailer or, you know, a bus, like all of the different things. And I've never had a real case for it, but yeah, that's that. And then, let's see, above here is my Casio 602, which is, a lot. I use this sample all over the place. So I'll when we get there, I'll trigger it so you can hear it. But I've just basically had a chain. I can't remember what the original source or the original patch is on it, but I sent it through an Echo Park pedal, And that delay is, yeah, I mean, it's also got a really, really, really warm organ, which I've also used on a handful of songs. A song called CNU, like that intro organ is this Casio Tone 602. Sorry, I'm trying to see how I can communicate with my kids to tell them to stop jumping around up there.
I think it's cute. I
Yeah,
thought
all right. Well,
people
we
might
just all
think
know that that's what's happening. Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
my two kids.
Either that or you're having some construction done, or I am.
Yeah, no, yeah. But that's also the studio world that I work in too, you know. So we're in pandemic, you know, and our kids are at home doing class. So yeah. So that's that right there. And then above, I don't know how I can get. Here we go. All right. And then above there is that's a little strike fic, I think is how you pronounce it. A little Waldorf string machine. Which I kind of barely use. I might sell it soon, but it's really cool. And I think I saw a video from this band Black Mountain, and the keyboardist Jeremy. He's actually one of my favorite keyboard players. He's really, 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 really creative and just really, really great. But I saw him using one in a video, and I got one. And I haven't been able to make it sound quite as cool as he has, but yeah, that's what that is, and it's totally just tabletop MIDI controlled, which is something I'm really, really into as well. I've been really, really into just tabletop synths. And next to that is an OP1, which my headphone out is currently broken, so it kind of renders it useless in a way, but I've been using it for its sampling and triggering and arpeggiation to kind of control other hardware. Behind that is a Digitac, which is also another kind of new addition that I'm, at some point going to stop and actually learn how to really utilize. Kind of going back to like my history of creating beats, nothing was made on machine, so everything kind of exists either as stereo waveform bounces, or maybe some samples here and there. But at any rate, I can't really rebuild any of the sequences. So I had an idea of just basically kind of redoing some things and triggering it, kind of trying to figure out how to trigger everything with hardware. So maybe like loading samples into the Digitact and kind of triggering beats that way. And then down here, let's see, here we go, kind of like down the wall. Space Echo, these are two vintage drum machines, two Hammond drum machines that are really cool that I've used on a couple of records. Let's see, a Prophet 08 tabletop synth as well, MIDI controlled, and Juno 60 up top. My original Voyager, which I got in 2006, I believe. It's the first edition. It's the 50-year anniversary edition Mini Moog Voyager. I remember when I got it. I've toured with it many times. It weighs 80 pounds in its case, though. So once airlines kind of lifted that weight rule, I stopped touring with it. And I would only use it in the States. And then, just kind of streamlining things. And it's very old now. It needs a tune-up. But under that is a Moog Prodigy, which I've had for a long time too. Under that is a Microkorg, original Microkorg. I got it right when they first came out, and it's been kind of in my live rig ever since. I think I just parted ways with it just recently, as far as it being not a part of my live rig. But there's just certain things, a certain tone and drones, and just things that I can do with it that I've never been able to kind of recreate. Maybe it's a little. Let's see. So my microphone is here. I'm just trying to get as much. Let me see. You know what I can do is talk
don't unplug anything
mic
on your laptop.
Yeah, I was gonna say I can talk into my vocal mic at my laptop. So
yeah. I mean, we might be here all day if you go through your entire studio.
Do you hear this?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right. So then, I mean. I have a little fatty up there, an SK20 over there, an SK20, which is the synth that I was really inspired by Sigur Rós, because Keratin had two of those, and it's kind of, that first song on that record that everybody knows, but it's because I'm in my live, talking into my live mic. yeah, so that's that keyboard. And then I just kind of have like a bunch of things all over the place. Microbrute, Rogue, got a Peak. I have this thing up so that we can see my lighting. And over here is my, I guess, regular setup. Over there in the corner, I have a Mother 32 DFAM, no coast, little Korg, Volca Beats, all CV communicating with each other, which is something I've been experimenting with lately. And yeah, my mains and stuff like that.
Heck yeah. Wow, that's so inspiring. Studio goals. Major studio goals.
And it took me a long time to like figure out how to route things right, but basically the way I have everything routed is that I can sit at my computer and MIDI channel select and control any of my synths on the wall, and they're routed right back to my patch bay. So I just
oh my gosh. Well,
pretty sweet.
Can we see
took a
that?
long time to figure that out.
Yeah, can we see that? And you are going to have to reshare your desktop for us because I'm not seeing it anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me see.
So if you could do that, we'll switch over to Ableton Land and get a peek there. What's going on?
So these, well, they're two different systems, so I can't really show just the control from my main system, but I can kind of share my routing from my live system, which is I actually skipped over on that little tour to show what I was actually playing with on accident, but maybe I can do it right here just really quickly. See if that works. Yeah. So there's a Nord stage or Nord piano on the bottom, little Oto Machines BAM reverb generator. I got my launch pad on the corner, and my Nord also goes through a delay DD3. It's particularly a DD3. It has to be a DD3. It's kind of like my original Rhodes sound that I've always had, and just kind of the way I can wiggle the effect is important, and no other DD version does that. So I've always had to find those particular DD3s. So I have a couple of those. And then on top is a launch key. To the left of that is a Juno 06 or JU06 boutique, and then naked boards. Controller just with a bunch of knobs, so I can do volumes and effects and stuff like that. And then a little iRig that's actually not really, it's just triggering a voice drone right now. So it's easy to kind of like grab. That's it.
Amazing. Wait, there's more. I'm sure we get the full walkthrough. Well,
there is more, but
maybe in the Transmute Accelerator, you'll show us the full deal.
Yeah. I'm kind of confined with webcam and this world and microphone and like that tech thing, and like I need a lav or something like that. But
yeah. Totally, for sure. Well, we'll do that for the Accelerator. Yeah. So, do you want to just show us what's under the hood here? Like,
yeah, so on? Let's see. Well, okay. I guess how to best explain that, or a lot of these things. I guess so the way I have things laid out is are we looking at my screen right now? I'm not sure. Okay, cool. So excuse me. So I have my first group, I do it. I basically group my beats together, so I have control over those. And these are kind of the different breakdowns. And I've gotten more trust in my stems over the years. I used to just basically I didn't want to have a lot of. I've just had too many crashes, with cheap computers and whatever. So I didn't really parcel out a lot of things like kicks and snares and et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot of just like stereo bounces that are happening kind of in under the hood here. But these are all pretty straightforward, just all the beats, and there's some the beat repeat and other grain delay that I have routed to some knobs on my launch key that I can control at any point if I want to. I also have kind of continuously down the line, also knobs mapped to my sends on the naked boards. And that's essentially kind of the beats section. And then here are kind of all my drones and like textures and things that you'll be hearing in the background. And I've always been with records and playing, I've always wanted things to crossfade. So I, through the years of using Ableton, kind of like had a couple different approaches at how to do that right, and how to do it without kind of like hearing that like scene shift, because I do everything in session view triggering scenes. So whenever I would trigger the next, song or the next part of a song, because I'm in control of when we change, when we're playing, and when I'm playing, and I just didn't want any kind of like audio glitch to happen. So the way that I've kind of have figured this out was I use a drum rack to trigger everything. So this right here, for example, is just so this is window, and you can see that it's just playing through, and the whole drone is there. And the way I have it triggered up here is to just loop it. So it's just a short little clip that's just continually looping. So it plays all the way through. And since everything's in, BPM correct, basically that's kind of how I can do it. And then I remove the stop buttons here underneath, so it's just playing on its own, and whenever I'm ready to actually start, I just go ahead and just trigger the next scene. I hear my click, and then, I'm off to the races, and I start playing, and you heard no, and then also, whoops, I wanted to also just kind of show how then when I start the next song, this is the next song, it's still playing through. And when I trigger the next scene to actually go into the song, it tells it to stop. And then the way that it's routed up here, using the release, kind of gives it a nice, natural fade out. So it's not affecting any audio. It's just triggering a drum, a cell, the actual ambient track in the cell. And I use that for a lot of the songs that just have drones that I don't want to kind of affect, what's happening in the drone. So that's kind of how they're all set up. There's only a couple in this session, but for the most part, that's kind of how I do a lot of the kind of seamless crossfading without, because obviously there's different BPMs that you're dealing with. So if things are warped, when you change, trigger the next scene, you'll hear that BPM shift, etc. And if you're getting any questions, because I'm not seeing anything, I can answer things while they're here.
While I'm
in this stuff. And then moving down is my keyboard land. So this right here is kind of controlling and communicating with my Juno. I'm also doing program changes in each of these clips. They're written right here. So when I fire a scene, it changes its clips. So if you would see on my synth that it changes its patch. And then also sometimes I'm having it triggered by Ableton. I did so much looping in my life that I feel like I don't need to do live looping anymore. Like I'll just play it and then it takes over when I would, in theory be triggering my loop. I feel like I earned it. But yeah, so there's a lot of like things in there. So, on window, it comes in and it triggers that. You can hear it playing. It's going through that auto verb, which is pretty thick right now. Anyhow, that's kind of the extent of that, and all of these clips are. It's labeled claret because it's coming out of my my Novation or my Focusrite claret. But all of my programs changes are all written into these clips and things that I play. And then when they take over, they just kind of run through their timeline. And that's the Juno section, but in here it gets a little more tricky, I guess, because in my keyboard world, which I'm triggering with my launch key, I have all the different, all my different, I have a big master instrument rack with all of my different samples all set to different chains. And yeah, so it's pretty much kind of goes through whenever I fire off a scene, obviously, it then changes, whoops. That's what I want. It then changes, you know, scenes to jump around to whichever synth I need within. Yeah, and then within these two, I have, they're kind of instrument racks within instrument racks. So every single different synth I need are in, you know, for each song, the different synths are laid out. And then I have a bunch of zone splitting as well underneath there, and that's also triggered via chain selecting to kind of turn on different sounds. And then it'll just, like in my MIDI roll in the clip, it just rolls through, and the chain selecting is written within. Just for this particular one, I can show you. So right, which one is it? This one. So right here, it'll roll through and show you where the chain selection is happening. So that's the main chain selection, which then tells it which synth to turn on. And then there's a separate, another chain selector written directly into the synth itself. And so that then rolls through, and you can see right there where it's just changing the different patterns through there. And yeah, so you'll see the chain selection change again. I believe. There we go. Oh, right when I went back, it's happened. Okay. So that's basically, so it'll roll through in different points of the song. You know, I can turn off and I'm still playing the same synth, so different songs come in, or different sounds come in and out to kind of, you know, whatever it is that I wrote and I had on the record, because I do a lot of layering in my sounds and in my leads and things like that. And so that's my, that basically that idea just kind of continues along the line, just as far as all the different synths that are being triggered and controlled, because I'm all much under the chain selecting. And then moving over to, I have a couple times where things are triggered, kind of just, these are just routed to trigger trigger this, so they can be free, triggering a different synth at the same time or something like that. I might have a little bit of redundancy, because sometimes on stage, if something doesn't work, I just add a new thing and hardwire it, basically, because I'm like, why is this not working? Can't figure it out, and then you just kind of move on under stress. And then here I have the same thing, my Nord, also communicating with a different rack, and that's also changing, doing program changes. Oh no, this channel is not doing program changes on my Nord, but even on my Nord, it's just basically turning on my Rhodes setting, and then when I don't need it to be a Rhodes setting, it basically triggers to an empty sound with nothing turned on, so it can just be a controller. There's another song where it's set to be a split, so I have a Rhodes up top, and then it's turned off on the bottom, so I can trigger, because I'm also playing bass with my Nord, and that's another. So this is my Nord lead. It's kind of Nord lead, but my Nord, the lead sounds that I'm triggering from my Nord is this rack, and the reason why they're all in here is because everything's routed together to be, typically when I'm running out front of house, everything's coming out different channels, so keys lines are coming out their own channels, my bass tones are coming out its own channel, and my beats and ambience are coming out its own channel, so everything's can be mixed via front of house. Here's the same. There might be some triggers in here. I'm not sure what that's doing right there, but I think it's also maybe something that I couldn't figure it out right away. I just kind of did a new thing. Oh no, that's it. That's actually sending. So next to it is actually sending my different program changes right down here to the Nord. And I just have them labeled off and on. One of them is split. So program 1 is my Nord, and then program 2 is off. So it's just basically as I'm firing, and obviously as I'm firing off all of these scenes, all of these settings and things are being, put in place on my system and on my keyboards. And I have basically the same mentality continuing down to my Launchpad, where I use it for drum racks, and it's also triggering different things. Window is something that for some reason, performing it solo, I had to this is like one of my early kind of I guess figure out how to load the samples in and play them all at the same time. And essentially what it is for Window, for example, there is it's the same thing. When I trigger the song, it triggers whatever corresponding. I guess there's not many sequences. I just triggered a bunch of things with no sequences, but you can see the chain selecting going to whatever rack I need. And for example, for Window, this is also a rack within a rack. So the Window rack is pretty, and I guess a little bit deeper. And I might have overdone this. I'm not sure, but I probably did. There might be a simpler way. At any rate, there are a bunch of different, the cells, and broken off into different. All the bass, is there, and going up to. So when I play the song, I'm basically moving, through the entire, I'm triggering all of these. Oh, there's the stop sharing thing is in the way. So yeah, so basically this is like a bunch of racks on racks. So on my launch key, I'm triggering multiple racks with that song, particular song, with pads. And that's basically kind of it. Like all of the different tones that I want, I just move up the line, and they kind of introduce, as the song progresses through. And that is my keyboard world. This is a voice drone that's kind of free, and it just kind of adds more textures, and it's just sent through. It was another way that kind of makes it easy for me to do transitions, where I can just kind of have this play, and when it triggers the next thing, it doesn't get audio. It is not manipulated by the BPM, so it can play freely. Also, my bass, and it's also set up the same, where my bass triggers, and I have key splits here too. I guess I missed that in the keyboard run, but basically they're all kind of set to different zones on my keyboard, so I can split things and play, certain instruments here and there. Do octaves where I'm playing bass with my lower the lower octave, and I'm also triggering a drone with my upper octave on the same keyboard, or different sounds and stuff like that. And I can change different chords, and it's just by zone splitting and sample placement. And yeah, same thing, chain selecting going on the entire time. And this is also routed out its own separate thing, typically. And the way I run my clicks are on a drum rack, just one thing right there. And I guess you can't hear it, but I can let me send it to the mains just so you can kind of see. So you can kind of see where it'll go into looping. And then it kind of hits this loop, and then it's there for when I need it and when I don't need it. And then, and the reason why I came up with that is because I needed cues. So, and I'm not sure if you can do it with Ableton Metronome or not. Maybe you can. I just didn't stop to learn that part. But the way I learned it was just basically to put in my own sample and use it as a drum rack, and then just basically write it as needed in as a MIDI clip. So when I need the click cues, they come in and it plays all the way through, and stops when I don't need it, and triggers again when I do need it. And I can do that also, when I perform with with the band, they each have their own individual click channels routed directly to their ears. So they have their own personalized click tracks, and where they want them and where they don't want them can also be written in here. So the drummer typically wants his click the entire time. I hate a click, and so if I don't need it, I don't use it. And that's kind of that. These are pre-recorded backing effects, and it's because they were effects that were from the record, so they're printed. So I just printed the effects so that they can be blended in under my voice. I guess that's kind of what the let's make sure that it's playing the right, there we go, BPM. Yeah, so it's just kind of like, and I have some things where I'm also manipulating my voice in real time too, but there's like certain just prints of things that they just lay in underneath, and they're typically blended in very, very, very low. These are my Nord returns, and I also have my Juno as a return and my vocal coming in as a return, but I typically don't have these when I'm playing live. They're routed directly through my outs. They don't come through Ableton at all. They're just different lines, but for this, I'm doing it like that to send you the audio. And then this is lighting. So I guess the way the lighting works, you can see, and some transmutants might be familiar with DMXs and how it works. But this was my old setup. So these are all, I basically had these little sticks that were just RGB controlled. And what they would do is, on one channel, you basically are MIDI controlling the bank. And then another channel, you're MIDI controlling the preset. So the look, your bank is basically like for a song or whatever. And then when you have a look is like what you see. So you can trigger you basically can write with the, with these macros, different, effects with the light, like this obviously would be a green, and then this is red, and then you blend them, just a basic, simple lighting, I guess, concepts. And you can also kind of go here and just write in its own things, select, simple presets from that, and you can kind of select by holding shift, all of that, and then tell it to do a chase and, select same channel and fixture. I don't know what that means. And this is actually written for artists so that you can do this on your own. But you can basically, like, you do whatever it is. I guess it's because I don't have a fixture is what's happening, why it's not letting me do that. So let me hop over here to the Gantums that I'm actually using, which are right here. So they're just simple, like each light is a single thing. And Jules, I don't know if you can, like, if you want to, like, just split my screen. Okay, perfect. Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, you can do, so right here it corresponds with I have 4 and they're all on the other side. So I have these like sticks, and the Gantums are single lights that are built into these little, like, basically literally just like little 1x1s of plywood, of wood, and they're just cut in and placed, spray painted black. And yeah, that's about as bare bones as you can get, I guess, as far as a fixture is concerned. The wiring is done, kind of built into the back of them. The DMX channel settings and all that stuff correspond with DMXs. And basically you can just, so you can see that I'm turning up the fader and I'm turning up that light. And that's it. So basically, you take that, and I can connect these two and bring both of those up, or I want to go over here and do this, and I can bring those two up, or I want to bring them all and do that. And then to write a chase, you basically just, do that and start to mess with it, tell it what you want to do, come up with a look, of I like that look. Okay, cool. So then you go to your preset manager, you would then save it, and then you save it as a preset, and then it's right there, basically. So as I go through, these are since I'm only using Gantums and I'm basically triggering only Gantums, through this bank, it's basically that's the corresponding MIDI note to trigger that particular bank of Gantums. And then basically you can see that it's basically like would be, the lowest C minus 2 or whatever it is right there. And then this is C sharp, D sharp, E sharp, etc., going all the way up the keyboard. And that's basically how you write the triggering of that. I just have it folded because I don't need the rest. And so when I go back over here, I will fire off something right here, and you'll see it change down right here. So I'll fire this off, and this will then jump down to my Gantum preset right there, and then it triggers that whole thing. The next is also the same, where it's triggering presets within the Gantum. So I've written these different looks like that, etc., etc. You write all of those things, you save it, and then you write them into these songs. So for instance, this song, it's an old kind of Jeroni song, and all I have is a click cue for when I want to start in my ears that basically is telling, I can turn the click back on right now just so you can see or hear that the click is just telling me to start. So when I start, because this is a free song with no beat, no metronome or anything like that, I just play, but the click cue tells me to come in so that I can come in with a lighting. And you can do little simple tricks like that that are just a little bit, more effective. So you'll hear the click that's going to tell me to go ahead and start. 1, 2, and then I start, the lights come in with me. And so it's like little simple things just like that. Same thing with window,
Wow.
That's basically essential, I guess, kind of under that hood. I guess there's probably more questions like within that. I'm maybe guessing,
was amazing.
but yeah, that's kind of the DIY. And then also the same thing applies to my visual setup, where I would have another channel that is basically being sent to the network, MIDI out, routed to the network, communicating with my other computer. Also just with simple MIDI mapping and triggering different scenes. And like, the video itself, you can't affect it and stuff like that. But my way of doing it is just super simple, so the things are in sync, and then also they're all obviously routed to Ableton scenes, so you can kind of have this kind of seamless, free performance that doesn't feel tied to a timeline. And that was kind of like, once I incorporated Ableton into our show, like we just started having way more fun, where it's like I'm in control of when we actually change, and we can kind of like extend this intro for 2 minutes. People might be like, why don't you start already? But we're like having fun, like playing, something like that, So for example, Window is a song that, is a popular song of mine, and I can kind of sit there and like let the anticipation kind of build before I actually start with that synth. And when that synth comes in, the lights come in, everything's there. But like, I wasn't, I'd taken a sip of my beer, and I'm like, oh shit, I gotta start, something like that. So it's like I'm in control, and I can kind of set the pace and not feel rushed, and the band's the same, so we're kind of all there.
I love that. I love all that. I actually like your click. I mean, the way that we do it is just put a count off, like a human voice's count off in our ears. But I like the
you can
way
do
that
that.
Your click goes.
Yeah, you can do that and just put it in the cell same way. So I've thought about that. I've thought about
like yours is too. I was like, okay, and your click is really nice. Like we have a library of clicks that we have, and so we can be like, okay, we're feeling like this for this song or this, But I actually really like your click. Did you make it from Tal? I saw the name.
Oh, well, it's just TAL. It's just the album leaf. It's like my own thing, the album leaf click. It's just like the click I've used forever. It's just labeled that way. I think it's an old it's just a stock Pro Tools click. It's just like, one of the different things, not the boop, 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 thing.
Right.
Like that, so.
Yes.
And then you can also, another thing that I've done with like Dave's, the drummer's click, is because he doesn't, he'll want like 16th notes as opposed to me only wanting quarter or something like that. So then you can just simply, adjust the volume of the sample and like, just put one click at 0 gain and then put the other one at -12. So you've got to and then you just map it the same way, having multiple clicks in different cells at different volumes. And then
Oh yeah.
I'm going to put my voice in one time and just going to not let them know and then be like, what the? Be really good.
Yes. I've done that not during a show, but just to mess with people, like
Totally. Yeah.
like pre-show stuff.
Right.
They're like, what the heck
Exactly.
is going on?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. Or like I would always have to play when I was on touring with Kanye. I'd play like music for front of house to tune the room to, and like occasionally I just like mix it up with like something random, and everyone would be like,
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
laughing because it's like Groundhog Day. Like day after day, you're like listening to the same song on the PA. The same.
Right.
It's like, what city am I in? You gotta like switch it up a little bit.
Totally.
Oh man, this has been so cool. Thank you, Jimmy. I'm gonna take a couple of last questions because we do have to wrap it up. And for those of you that are like super interested in this stuff, definitely no. I mean, you're great. Jimmy's gonna dive way deep into all this stuff in the Transmute Accelerator. So if you're interested, definitely fill out an application for that. But this is a good just like overview of your setup, and I look forward to kind of getting in a little bit deeper. And here's a good question. When you were touring, how many musicians did you typically have on stage with you?
It would be me plus 3 to 4, but typically it was always 3. There was always just myself, a drummer, and a bassist and violinist. And they kind of multi-instrument, they played a little more than just that. Like the bass player would play synth and trumpet, and the violinist would also play synth and sing backups and guitar, and I would play guitar, and and the drummer also kind of like moves his way around too. So we're all trying to do as much as possible and play as much as possible to have as least amount of possible being in the tracks.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Good question from Sonia. Do you choose frequencies according to meditative frequencies?
No. No, I don't know. Maybe they just resonate. Whatever my frequency is just whatever. Like, I'm like, oh, that's a cool sound, and like just routing things through different stuff. I'm not. I haven't gotten into that. Maybe I should look at the whole that chakra.
Well, a lot of people say
like
that your music's meditative. So
right, yeah.
Good question
Not
from
intentional,
Ricardo. Oh yeah. Well, hey, you might have. Hey, I can. Why don't you just go over to Headspace? I know you do a lot of scoring stuff. You could just hit up Headspace, the app, and there you go.
Or Calm, yeah.
Yeah, or Calm.
Totally.
Or any of those. Yeah. Maybe you already do, and I don't know. I already got the meditation game on lock.
NDAs. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes.
One thing I did do actually that I've never I've never actually even said that I did this, but the tones for Beats headphones I actually made. I haven't actually even given myself credit for that, but I did. The new products I've made the sounds for. So new Power Beats Pros, and the when you put them in your ear, you hear a sound, and you take them off. That I made those. Yeah.
Casual. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good question from Ricardo.
Yeah.
Shout out Ricardo. He's one of our Transmute Community All-Stars and CliffX Pro.
Oh yeah.
He has and he's also doing a masterclass during
excellent.
the Transmute Accelerator. So Jimmy, you're welcome to join us. And he has a conceptual question. What is the meaning of the leaf logo? I suspect there's something magic behind it.
So yeah, there's a story, I guess. So when I was when I was making In a Safe Place, my third record after touring with Sigur Rós, and they had invited me to come out to record at their studio, and so I took up the invitation. I went out there. I went back and forth 3-4 times making that record. And obviously that was a very inspirational, life-changing event for me. To do that and create a record in that kind of sense, in that kind of way, and commuting, back and forth to Iceland. Iceland's very magical, and the people are amazing, and everything's just, there's that bigger, experience of it. And then I actually played a show there, and Carrie and Maria and Ori all backed me for that show in Iceland, and there was an artist that lived across the street from their studio, and they had asked her to make a flyer for the show, and that was where the leaf first appeared. And so I basically just kind of have used that leaf ever since, and obviously it's everywhere, relating to the album leaf. So that's basically kind of the gist of it, and it's stuck and it's stayed.
Love it. Wow.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful. And you matched our colors like unwittingly, I think, right? We're like, oh my gosh, we're matching. It's so cool.
Yeah, you can thank Jeremy for that.
It's awesome. Oh gosh. Well, thank you so much, Jimmy. This has been such a pleasure. Everyone in the chat, let's give Jimmy some love.
Thank you.
Everyone, there's such beautiful comments and stuff. You'll have to go back and read it all.
Yeah, I'm gonna check it out.
A lot of love in the chat for you. A lot of great questions. Sorry we didn't get to everything, but we gotta leave soon. So this is actually only supposed to be a 1 hour event, and every day we've done 2 hours, which of course.
Oh, I didn't know.
Everyone loves No. It's you're fine. It's more me because I'm like, oh, we could just keep talking forever. But I think 2 hours is a while. But yeah, thank you so much, Jimmy, for being here. I'm going to say goodbye to you, and I'm going to stay on for a minute and wrap things up. But thanks so much again. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been great.
We'll talk to you. Well, we'll see you soon in the Transmute Accelerator.
Right. Yeah. Looking forward to that for sure.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Absolutely. Take care, Jimmy.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Oh, wow. That was so special. That was just really amazing for me, as been listening to Jimmy's music for such a long time and becoming acquainted with him and now friends with him, and now he's joined us on all of these things. So Transmute Your Artistry and the Accelerator are coming. I'm just honored that he was here with us, and just so honored to see all of you here in the chat, see all your names, and imagining your faces out there in the world. And so tomorrow we have one of my other personal heroes, Suzanne Shawnee, who is going to be talking about performing and mixing in quad. And that's actually something that is very interesting to me right now, because I just mixed my first quad record. So definitely don't miss tomorrow. It's going to be very, very special. One of my personal heroines. And don't forget about the contest, and I'm trying to think of what else. Well, I just want to bring Jules on. Shout out Jules Jensen, the legend who has been back in the background.
What's up, everybody?
Controlling the master controller of all the things.
Here, there we go.
With the crazy studio.
Tweaking some stuff here on my second screen. We're good. That was great. Wow, Jimmy, what a legend. I've also been a fan for a decade now, almost to the day. Actually, Jimmy was playing a festival that I was playing at called Camp Bisco 10 years ago, almost to the day, and discovered the album Leaf then. And, it's just always been a name with gravity in my musical evolution. So it's just been amazing to get to meet him, and he's such a great guy, and see under the hood as we did. So thank you for allowing me to be a part of this, Laura, and for all you do. So it's been amazing.
Oh,
and tomorrow,
thank you, Jules.
Suzanne.
I mean, you
wow.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Jules goes above and beyond, and he and I have been working tirelessly to put together the best experience that we could for y'all, as well as the rest of my team who've been in the chat chatting with y'all. So
Much
shout
love
out
Yes.
to Ashley and Hannah here in the chat. Thank y'all for being here. And so we're just gearing up for the next Transmute. Of course, we've been talking all about it. This week is a celebration, so definitely, if you're interested, fill out an application, because we have limited spots available for that. And I think we're gonna let it go, because we got a couple minutes till we hit the 2 hour mark. And I don't know about y'all, but I need to get some lunch and take a break. But it's been such an awesome time today and the rest of the week. And don't forget about the Transmute Morning Journal. if you haven't filled it out every day or at least one of the days, it would be great to have you put some thought and reflection into it so we can help you transmute your artistry and elevate and all the things. And a special shout out again to the sponsors. Really appreciate you supporting us in this event. And yeah, thanks to all of y'all for being here and supporting us. It means a lot. So we'll see you tomorrow. Peace. Transmute is really about the reimagination of your music to have the freedom to perform exactly the way you've dreamed of. In this journey, you are going to be reimagining your songs from the studio and creating a captivating performance with it. We will be conceptualizing your show, designing your rig, and putting it all together to create a show-ready project in just 8 weeks.
The main reason that I was even able to take advantage of this course is that it's fully online.
It'll definitely push you, and it'll like push you out of your comfort zone.
Throughout the program, I will be providing you with inspiration as you learn the tools and techniques to level up your live show. This is for you if you want to take control of your career and gain a newfound sense of creative freedom.
I wanted to have a show that I could do myself, and I wanted it to be full and cool and an experience. I wanted to add visuals and bring the productions to life.
I'm so excited for you to join the Transmute Accelerator and start this journey with me. Oh, he does.